day, everyone, and welcome to the Midwest Horror Network's March 2020 Halloween Spectacular, where every day we are diving into a Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode. I'm Brandon, and as always are with me
Mark,
David,
Zach. And as I said, today we are doing Simpsons Treehouse of Horror number 6 from season 7.
I love it how you said good day. They just said, good day, good morrow, everyone.
Well, at least he didn't start it off like a PBS broadcast again.
Well, I couldn't say Happy October 6th because I wanted to do the Smarts joke, so...
Good morning. It's not even in March,
fair.
though.
It's March. Like the 13th month.
Where's the... Oh, God. All right, whatever. Moving on.
No, he's not wrong. It was just a bad joke within the episode.
It's called a reference. You would have gotten it if you paid attention to the episode, Mark.
I did. Never mind.
So anyway, a very short intro for this episode. We have a headless Krusty the Clown, much in the same vein as the Headless Horseman from The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Krusty's head is laughing, and the body's riding a horse, and the headless body throws Krusty's head at the screen, and a splatter of blood. We get the title, Simpsons Halloween Special 6, and then we cut to the couch where all 5 Simpsons are hanging by nooses.
Super dark, but very funny.
It's getting darker, for sure.
Yep, very, very quick intro, which I think allowed a lot more time for the 3 segments, and I think story-wise, I think it made a huge difference. It felt like each story had enough time to actually properly breathe and have a proper beginning, middle, and end. So yeah, very quick intro. I don't really think there's anything really to go over with it.
I missed the tombstones. But I guess I'll start with episode or story 1.
All right, Attack of the 50-Foot Eyesores. Mark,
Jesus.
what was it about?
So it is about, it is, I guess, in the same spirit as like old 50s drive-in, or at least that's like the vibe I got. Essentially, Homer goes to a strip of area that's a giant tourist trap with giant advertisements. I guess it's making fun of like Middle America, Mall of America, and Old Vegas all at the same time. And Homer drives into the 50-foot donut shop to go get a giant fucking donut. It turns out that the donut is in fact not giant at all. Homer is obviously upset, especially after figuring out that there's no refunds at all. So he says, I guess in his Homer mind, goes ahead and is going to steal the giant donut off of the giant guy that is holding a giant donut, and he accomplishes this by saying "fuck physics" and throwing a giant hook around the donut, strapping it to the end of the car, and then going ahead to drive it out. I'm glad that he attached it to his undercarriage and not to his bumper, because his bumper clearly would have been ripped off. He goes ahead and brings it into his house. How he fits it through the front door is beyond me, because once again, fuck physics. And he has it in his living room, which is taking up his entire living room. Marge asks where he got that. He says, I did not break the law in order to obtain it.
He acquired it through legal means.
Indeed. Very similarly to the Family Guy sketch about getting the foot of the Statue of Liberty. I think I enjoyed the Family Guy.
If I remember correctly, though, Peter just bought it because he was getting so much money just for, like, what?
Yes, the lottery.
Yeah, was it the lottery, or was it the welfare check episode?
No, it was the welfare check episode, yeah. Then all of a sudden, during a freak ion storm, all of these particular giant advertisements come to life and started wreaking havoc throughout the entire town. A bunch of crazy shit happens. There's a lot of really silly jokes. I spent most of the time rolling my eyes and snickering. Wasn't a lot of laughing. There was more snickering for me. And there was a lot of, oh, God. Okay.
A snicker's still an acceptable laugh.
Sure. Sure. I guess that is one way to describe it. There's several different advertisements that show up, including a giant what's the newscaster's name?
Kent Brockman.
Ken Brockman, and a giant Ken Brockman statue that eats the actual Ken Brockman, which I did appreciate. That was quite funny. And that little giant advertisement that holds up the donut that wears overalls finally shows up at Homer's door, asking
The lard lad.
The lard lad is finally asking for the donut back. Homer makes a bunch of excuses how he doesn't have it, but then eventually figures out he does have it.
Pawns him up on Flanders and
then help me, Jesus. And then
I was like, I told you Flanders had it.
and then through a very keen observation, Lisa finds a giant obvious clue within a very large footprint in their yard, which finds out that all of these advertisements are from one advertisement agency, and they figure out that the best way to do that is through the magic of advertisement, or more specifically, the magic of forgetting about advertisement. So they make a new jingle that makes everyone else pay attention to that particular jingle and ignore the rest of the advertisements, thus leading to the rest of the advertisements' certain death. And that was the end of the episode. I will say my quick...
Don't forget King Kodos.
King Kodos.
When the donut was rolling down.
Oh, yeah, and then, of course, the one appearance by King and Kodos saying that we pretend to be married couples and they're attempting to hitchhike. I honestly think I would have much rather saw the episode how they got stranded on Earth and had to pretend to be a married couple than actually watching this particular one. I think I would have been more entertained by that than this. But I think that it was overall a very okay sketch. I laughed at a few parts. I snickered at most of it. I rolled my eyes at other. And it seemed like a completely shoehorned in ending where the magic of advertisement will make you forget about the rest of the advertisements. It seemed very much like the worst of an after-school special or a Nickelodeon program, where the power of magic will make everything better. And then it ended. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to get that 10 minutes back of my life, but okay. Good for Simpsons. But that was about it. I spent most of the time looking at David, and we both rolled our eyes. I could feel Zach's groans from the other end.
Yeah.
He didn't even look back at me. I just knew what he was feeling. And then Brandon and I laughed at a few of the same parts.
Yeah, I thought this was a very funny one.
But but overall,
there's nothing wrong with a little goofiness sometimes.
Yeah, sure. I guess that's the truth, but it felt the entire thing was goofy and
very chaotic.
Chaotic.
I love it though.
The one positive note is I did dig the animation work on this. I thought it was very good. There was, and actually, as an overall tenant for the whole episode, it had really good animation.
Yeah.
But I think I was paying far more attention to the animation than the actual stories because the stories didn't really grab me. But it did have really good animation. I think you can tell that it's improving in its quality as time goes on. I did enjoy it. I think overall it was okay. It laughed at some parts, but most of the time I thought it was overly silly. And I just didn't buy the ending, but it did have some pretty good animation.
I agree on that. I was pretty entertained by this first one.
Yeah.
I had like 3 favorite parts in there. The first one was the beer or the cowboy advertisement with the beer bottle and just smashes a group of teens. Just like, wow.
Yeah, I really liked the antics of all the giant mascots, like the Zip Boys when they're going away at night, and the old man's just yelling at them, "Fellas, where are you going at this hour? Don't scratch with them heads."
Like bobbleheads, essentially.
You do have the giant Kent Brockman. You do have Otto, the bus driver, thinking he's going through an acid flashback with the devil.
Yeah, that was another one of my favorite moments. Is like Bart on the devil's shoulders, like the devil stands in front of the elementary school and thinking about smashing, and then Bart's on the shoulders. Yeah, smash it.
All right,
and goes on the other side of the shoulder. Yeah, smash it. It's like, okay.
And I also like that exchange between Homer and the lard lad. I told you, Flanders has it. Or Mo. go kill Mo.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. But like the one thing I rolled my eyes at the hardest, and I don't even think I laughed, but it was definitely a snicker. Was when the heads finally went down, because all I could think of was, you said fuck it to physics the entire episode, but now you're gonna have weight distribution issues of physics within this episode.
Because the joke.
Or when like Marge.
Sure.
Or when like Marge convinces Homer just to give the donut back, and
Oh, yeah.
so he's just gonna go away, and then he gives the donut back and just starts smashing the
Likes the
house in the
dog.
way. He's like, "Don't you hate to be wrong all the time?" It's like, yeah,
Sometimes.
The kicking of the dog was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because it's animation and they can get away with things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the best one of these three, but it is a very funny one. And
Animation, though, I agree. Mark, on top of that.
any other thoughts on this one before we move on?
It was boring, but still not as bad as The Raven.
Fuck you, guys.
You know what?
Hey, you go to hell.
I think,
Nope.
I
You go
think
to hell
Zach
and
and
you
I
die.
will have a forever standard of as long as it wasn't as bad as The Raven, we're good.
That's where.
We're gonna be split on that one. It's just gonna happen. It's always gonna be that.
That's going to be the continuing game for the rest of this goddamn show. Well, it wasn't as bad as The Raven, I guess, but it was still pretty boring.
Anyway.
Fuck you guys.
You're the only one that gets emotional about The Raven.
I love the Raven. Well, I'm
I
a
like
big
The Raven,
Edgar
too.
Allan Poe
Edgar Allan
fan
Poe
anyway.
loving motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
I like Edgar Allan Poe too, but I just hate the episode.
Fucking gothic ass. I love him.
Go play Devil May Cry 5 and just listen to V's bullshit. Then I think you'll reconsider your thoughts. God.
And for the award for the nerdiest reference of this episode goes to Zach.
All right, next up we have Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace. David,
Nice.
tell us about this one.
This one's obviously a parody of, Nightmare on Elm Street. Starts off with, I think, Bart playing with Santa's little helper in the yard. Got a weird looking animation.
Very saturated.
Very saturated. Bright colors. I guess to kind of insinuate that he's dreaming, because Santa's little helper starts talking to him. So, and all of a sudden, groundskeeper Willie pops up with a rake trying to kill him. And he's got his nice little red and black or red and green sweatshirt, striped like Freddy Krueger. So he tries to kill Bart essentially, and kind of rakes him on his stomach, and Bart wakes up screaming and awakes with the scratches on his stomach as well. And then we go into the next morning or whatever. No, he screams and Homer's like, Bart, is that you? And Bart's like, yeah, take out the trash. But yeah, and then he goes to school, tells Lisa about the story or his dream, and then realized that she had the same dream about Willie, but this time he used hedge clippers on her. She's got a piece of like her hair in her hand. Then all the kids start circling. He's like, yeah, we had a similar nightmare involving groundskeeper Willie as well.
He used me as a floor buffer.
Yeah.
He floor buffered me. I'm like, all right, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, Nelson was really shiny. Then Principal Skinner comes up trying to essentially cover up a cover-up, I guess.
There's no mystery about groundskeeper Willie. He just simply disappeared. Now let's no longer talk about this cover-up.
Right when he's walking away. Then we transition into the classroom where Martin falls asleep. I had to think about that one for a sec. He falls asleep. He's got this weird dream where he's a mathematician or whatever.
Master of Latin.
Or master of Latin.
I was going to say math wizard, but okay.
Sure.
I don't know.
Because he's going over Latin phrases and there's Latin written on the chalkboard.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. We agree.
Damn
It's
it,
like-
Brittany, you're right all the time. Damn.
It's like weird rocket science to me, but that works too.
Yeah.
He's got the little cape and that ridiculous ass hat.
Nerd.
Yeah, there's a big like blackboard or chalkboard there with all the Latin words, and Willie kind of blend into it and appears out of nowhere and said something smart. I don't know what he said.
You've mastered a dead tongue. Can you handle a
Oh
live
yeah,
one?
yeah. He starts running and Willie's tongue stretches and grabs him and wraps him up like the boa constrictor. And then we go back to the classroom while he's still dreaming and Martin's screaming and he dies and Nelson says ha ha and laughs. Because that's just, Nelson. And it's the appropriate moment to laugh when somebody dies.
That was definitely the funniest bit of the whole
yeah.
episode.
I love that.
Yeah, for me it was both the creepiest and the funniest. The creepiest because Martin's scream is freaking nightmare-inducing. Like, it wasn't like a stock scream or a standard Martin scream. It was like
terrifying scream,
suffering to death. And then of course you have when Lunch Lady Doris is wheeling him out.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, let's wheel him out. I don't want the kids seeing. And then Principal Skinner had his foot on the sheet covering Martin, and as she wheels him out, exposes his body, and it's freaking horrifying. It's kind of stiff with his hands all out, kind of like he's clawing or, begging for his life, essentially. And the kids scream. And then
the kids scream.
Like, go, go.
Get him out of here. Not into the kindergarten.
Into the kindergarten.
Hear all the little kids screaming too.
That was pretty great.
And then Bart and Lisa run home and tell essentially their parents, Martin and Homer, that Martin died in classroom. And they're like, yeah, this has nothing to do with Groundskeeper Willie. And they're like, we didn't say it had anything involving Groundskeeper Willie.
We didn't even say Groundskeeper Willie. Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Then they realize they messed up. And so they sit down and tell them the story of what happened with Groundskeeper Willie.
It happened on the 13th hour of the 13th day of the 13th month.
Yeah,
Smart.
The PTA was meeting about the misprinted school calendars.
March. Homer, it's snowing, obviously, right. Homer goes in the school, is like, this damn smarch weather.
So stupid.
He goes to the meter to turn the heat on, says, don't touch Willie. And he just turns it all the way to frickin' max. And Willie's in the boiler room just playing or his bagpipes. So, and then he's like, hey, what's going on? He goes to the boiler and it just explodes on him and he's on fire. And then they're having their PT meeting about having used fire extinguishers or
to repair the doorknobs, which they said no, and the doorknob to the boiler room broke as Will was trying to escape. And then it was also a free refill of the fire extinguishers,
which was denied,
and of course the fire extinguisher was empty.
Yeah, he was trying to use it on himself, and it's empty. And he runs into the classroom begging for help while they're having their meetings. Like, he's like, Willie, please, Mr. Van Housing's got the floor. He's got to wait, so he's on fire, mind you. And he runs in there, he sits down, waiting for him to be done. Until
Mr. Van Houten doesn't like the idea of Millhouse having two spaghetti meals in the same day.
Hey, what are you doing? Got no money.
David, you're the only parent out of the four of us. Is that an actual concern that parents have? Are their kids having the same meal? And
sometimes I'll have chicken nuggets, and that's all you got to really feed them.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, as long as your kid's eating, who gives a damn?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you might they might eat the same meal in a day. You just don't know. I'm not keeping track of what the school's feeding them, which you technically should be, but it's something unhealthy.
We live in Chicago. I'm just going to assume the schools are feeding them shit.
Yeah, something unhealthy. And we all been there.
Oh, yeah.
We know what we
It
get.
sucks.
Yeah.
It ain't going to get
You
any
either
better.
just don't eat it and wait till you get home to get some good, or you kill yourself while eating the lunch.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So it'll be
Remember how the pizza looked like human flesh?
Dude, yeah.
God,
really
it's fucking disgusting.
Leathery.
And I knew kids who would be like, yo, you want your pizza? Fucking have it. I'm not touching this shit. You get the burgers where the meat's still freshly pink inside. It's like, did you even cook this?
Dude, you look forward to Pizza Fridays every week, and then
did.
it fucking gets there and it's like I know I'm gonna be disappointed because it's gonna be bad. And then you get there and you're like,
it was burnt too.
The only time, the only lunch that would be somewhat edible or look good and just be okay was the fucking nachos. That was it.
Essentially, this is what you get with school lunch. Either it's undercooked or overcooked. It's never in between.
I'll take overcooked.
It's never between.
Definitely take overcooked.
Yeah, I don't want to get.
Me too.
I don't think that I'll ever be able to get chocolate milk and cheese pizza out of my mouth. Taste out of my mouth.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even drink the milk either. I'd literally go.
Look, Brandon's like, Yeah.
I'd go to the fucking water fountain, just be like, all right, I'm gonna take my chances with sewage water over this shit.
Ugh.
Fuck that.
Oh, dude.
Am I the only person who really wanted Ralph to be in this episode?
Yeah, Ralph wasn't there.
surprising.
I really think that Ralph would have added something to this being there. I would have
Assuming
loved,
later on.
I would have loved to have had that. Maybe that's a deleted scene somewhere where Ralph has the nightmare and gets killed.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd much rather have Ralph get killed than the other kid. I think.
But he wouldn't last too long either. He died right away.
Oh yeah, it would have been. I'm in danger.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I think I just wanted one of those jokes. I think that's what I really
And
wanted.
I think if it had been Ralph, it would have just been outright comedy. Whereas with Martin, you do get sort of that mix
Sure.
of the humor and the Halloweenness.
I guess so. Yeah, there's the point to that.
But yeah, if this episode were made today, I could definitely see them killing Ralph instead of Martin.
Yeah.
That is definitely a modern Simpsons thing that would have been done.
Yeah. So anyway, how did the episode wrap up, David?
Well, he's still sitting in the chair. At this point, he's down to the bone. So flesh, everything gone.
Yeah, which really cool skeleton design, flaming skeleton design.
Yeah, it was really freaking cool. Get some good animation going on for this episode. He stands up, curses the parents basically. He's like, well, I'm going to get you back through your kids, and where your kids will be the most vulnerable, and that's their dreams, where they can't really help.
Yeah.
And he goes down to Ash and then cleans himself up, throws himself in the trash.
The phantom
The
dustpan.
phantom dustpan.
I did snicker a little bit at that. I did.
Yeah, of course.
It was okay.
It was humorous.
It was humorous.
A laugh is still a laugh, Mark.
True.
I think most of this episode, I felt like the ostrich from Family Guy. That's literally how I felt. That's how I felt.
Fucking love that ostrich.
That's how I felt most of this episode.
What else happened? Then they realize Bart, Lisa, and Maggie are trying to stay up, struggling at this point, and Bart decides to just like go in and try to fight them head on. So he kind of warns Lisa's like, hey, if you think I'm in trouble, wake me up. The whole,
There was a little
scheme.
humorous bit, like after Marge and Homer tell the story to Bart and Lisa. Lisa says, Bart, that means next time you and I go to sleep, we could die. And then Grandpa is like, welcome to my world.
And then I was like,
Sleep.
Grandpa for the win once again.
Always.
He always, like, every time he says something, it's usually a fucking win.
Yeah.
Almost always a win.
Too tired.
The
Can't believe I forgot about that one. That was pretty funny.
yeah.
Well, yeah, after that, like I said, Bart's going back to face Willie head on in the dream. We're back in the front yard for the elementary school, and Willie shows up as a lawnmower, chases Bart around, and then eventually turns into, or Bart tricks him into going into the sandbox where it's a quicksand, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. So he gets stuck in there and kind of sinks in, thinks it's, safe. He's like, yeah, okay, he's gone now. I can, have my regular dreams of winning the Super Bowl with Krusty. So Krusty shows up, full uniform with the football. It's like, all right, Bart, it's like the fourth quarter. We're down by a touchdown or whatever.
Standard Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't freaking know. While they're, discussing the play, Willie shows back up, and he's turned himself into a
Giant bagpipe
spider.
Sure.
So, and then Krusty sees, he's like, screams and says, Bart, don't ever dream about me again, and runs off. Groundskeeper Willie grabs Bart. Bart screams. Lisa shows up. It's like, Bart, you're in trouble. Wake up. He's like, wait a minute. If you're in here, you must be fucking sleeping too. It's like, wait a minute. I just closed my eyes. I'm not sleeping. I'm just resting my eyes. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Damn.
She was sleeping.
Yep. Then Maggie shows up after Willie grabs Lisa too. They're both doomed apparently, and then Maggie climbs up the back of Groundskeeper Willie and shoves her pacifier in the vent, and he explodes.
And actually, your sound system actually hit some serious bass
yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh damn.
It was like a DC movie, that bass.
Yeah.
Or a Chris Nolan movie.
It felt nice.
But no, it's whenever Justin comes over and we watch movies, like we've watched like Wonder Woman and a few of the other DC
nice.
movies, and we've noticed that the DC movies in particular just really amp up the bass a lot of times. So now whenever we watch something and
Gotta do something.
and it suddenly just hits the bass really hard, we just say, "Oh, easy there, DC movie."
Dude, David, shots fired, bro.
Just saying.
Yeah, it was a nice moment on the sound system.
Oh, yeah,
Nice.
it was. We
Yeah.
all like, yeah, it was.
Which I would say this one probably had the weakest ending. Like the
I guess,
not
yeah.
ending as in like climax, but ending as in like the note it went out on. David, do you want to cover those
Sure.
final
I mean,
moments?
after that they wake up back at home, but Lisa feels like Willie's still kind of around, kind of senses something is still not right. So when they head outside, there's a freaking coach bus or whatever.
It was like a
like a
greyhound,
Greyhound or whatever
Greyhound.
shows
a
up.
not
in front.
greyhound bus.
Yeah. Shows up in front of their house. Willie apparently shows up alive and well. The bus drives off. And Willie realizes he forgot his gun in the bus and is like, crap, wait here, don't move, and chases the bus and loses his shoe while he's doing it.
Which is
That
ridiculous.
was pretty much it for the ending.
Which is, by the way, it's a joke on. We've talked about this before, not on the podcast, but I think in person. It's about that whole guy who said he didn't murder his wife because he left his gun underneath his seat. I can't remember what the fuck.
Oh, that happens long after this episode
Did
was
it?
made.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I was like watching it. I was like, are they making a joke on that?
No.
Because it sounded really like that.
Unless the Simpsons creators can see the future, and I realized what I just said right there.
Well,
Well,
they predicted a lot of things.
you can add that one to the list of reasons why the Simpsons creators are in fact time travelers.
Simpsons did it first.
The
That one episode of South Park.
Jesus. Oh yeah, that's right. Poor Butters.
Oh,
Yeah, don't mention South Park in this household. It's too soon. Hulu lost it to HBO Max recently.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
figures.
we're very sad in this apartment right now because of that.
That does suck.
Yeah.
Back to Seinfeld.
You can just watch it
Dum,
on
dum,
ComedyCentral.com anyway. Wow.
Anyway.
But yeah, I thought Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace was a really good one. Had a good structure to it. Really, it's just that final moment that just kind of fell flat. And I
Yeah.
can kind of get that the joke is Willie is trying to be scary, but he's just not scary anymore to them. But it does come off as just kind of flat. But other than that, it had a beginning mystery. It had a good middle of Martin's death. We even got a flashback backstory in there. And then we had Final Showdown. Like they packed a lot into this segment.
Doesn't like Willie? No, never mind. I thought there was like another Treehouse of Horror where they kind of did the same thing, or similar to this episode, but I might be wrong.
Well,
I enjoyed
We're gonna
it.
find out later this month.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fair enough.
It was definitely entertaining.
Yeah.
This is one of the more one of the episodes I remember the most because of the parody of Nightmare on Elm Street. So
And the dream animation at the beginning was really cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. The animation was actually pretty good.
Zach,
Yeah.
what do you think about it since you're the big Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street fan?
Oh,
Well, I mean, you are. Friday the 13th.
no!
It's like fuck you.
Please.
Somebody
Dude,
writes the
it's-
David and Zach just became enemies.
Dude, it's literally going to be like that from the first segment when
Hey.
Ken Brockman is up there and like pause for technical difficulties as you hear screams in the background.
All right, and we're back, and we're missing David.
And David's been murdered. We don't know how. The lights went off.
I've been up since like
David's been murdered
yesterday.
and Zach's in
Leave me
jail.
alone.
It's literally like most of the deaths in Scream 3. Like lights go off and somehow somebody's dead. I don't know.
Still a better movie than Scream 1.
Don't bring
Oh,
that.
dude, no, we're not doing that right now. The
Okay.
Anyways, this episode, I hate it, and it made me realize how much I hate The Simpsons.
Wow.
wow.
Wow, that escalated.
You're doing a Nightmare on Elm Street parody, and you didn't make me laugh once.
Ooh.
All I felt was, this is fucking stupid.
Not even the Martin death. Not even Nelson saying
Nothing.
"Ha ha." Not even
Nothing.
dead body getting wheeled out.
Not even the kids seeing.
It
Dead
literally said, I'm literally realizing as I'm watching this, I'm like, I really do not like this show. I don't like the look of it. I don't like the characters. I really hate Homer. He's a fucking moron. Wow. Why did I agree to this?
Wow, Zach.
I think
It's still not as bad as The Raven.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right, it's your turn to die now.
Hold on.
We'll be right back,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on. This segment versus the 2010 remake.
I would rather watch that.
Oh,
That is a
Damn.
damn lie, and you know it.
let's turn it on.
He really hates the Simpsons.
No, he really hates this fucking episode because this is actually something that's personal to him. That's the reason why, because this is something that has to do with Nightmare, and anything to do with Nightmare is like insulting religion. To Zach. Nightmare and hold on. Hold on, David.
This is all different conversation we can have later on.
We're all friends here. Anybody that's a hardcore fan of Nightmare, I get it. But I think we should hang on. There's a lot more episodes left to go.
We're only on number 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
We're only
not
on
over
number
yet.
6.
Oh,
why couldn't we get Family Guy?
hang tight, Zacchaeus. Hang
I'm
tight.
here. I agreed to it.
Hang tight in the pocket, man. Hang
I'm
tight
like,
in the
yeah,
pocket.
the Halloween episodes, those should be good. What have I done?
Dude, hold on. You've enjoyed. There's recordings of you saying that you.
There's some of them that are good,
True.
but for the most part,
Dude, it's gonna, like I've said this before. There's gonna be some episodes that some people are gonna like, and vice versa, and then some episodes that are just gonna fall fucking flat in the face.
Yep.
When you have 31 of them, there's bound to be some that are gonna be better than others, and you know for
31, 3 segments each, so that's only like 6 to 7 minutes per segment.
and that's what. So you got 30. So that's what 90, 99, almost 100 different segments.
Yeah.
If
nearly.
math is correcting.
Almost.
Correct.
Mark,
Not
you should
quite,
know you and I are
almost.
not allowed to do math in public spaces.
That's
And then go put it on the internet.
True.
or write copy at all. Without
And
having,
assuming the 31st one does come out this year, that'll be 93 segments plus, all the intros plus a couple wraparounds.
yeah, there's a lot of hours of television to still go through. So hang tight, little buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the animation was actually really good in this. There were some funny bits in this, but again, I think this entire episode, I just overall most of the time I spent rolling my eyes or just going, oh, okay. Most of this was the same, with the exception of like very specific jokes that did hit for me, but for the most part, I'm gonna add it to the list of the rest of this episode, which is it was okay. At least that's for me.
Gonna be great.
It's going great. It's going great. We're gonna get the kid from Jingle All the Way to be in Star Wars. It's gonna be great.
It was a good decision, Mark.
I have 2 words for you, Jar Jar.
Jar Jar wasn't that bad.
I like Jar Jar Binks. That wasn't that bad. That wasn't the worst part.
Jar Jar was pretty bad.
That wasn't the.
Still a better character than Rose Tico.
I don't know who that is.
Exactly.
There you go.
There you go.
Point proven.
I don't know what those 2 words mean together. Anyway,
Alright.
yeah.
So,
3rd episode.
yeah, any last thoughts about Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace? Good to move
No.
on? All right, one more segment, and that is Homer Cubed. Zach, tell us about this.
Acid trip.
Yes.
It probably was, yeah.
So, Marge's Simpsons. Marge's sisters are coming over, so of course everybody in the house is like, "Oh fuck, I gotta hide."
Pretty much.
So the kids, they
Very
take over the
relatable.
closet. Homer tries arguing with them for a good, minute, and then they throw some legal mumbo-jumbo in his face, and he's like, fuck! All right.
Mind you,
What
that is
legal mumbo jumbo? They called it.
Well, apparently that's legal mumbo-jumbo in his mind.
The
accurate. I have the same arguments with my kids. Trust me. It goes that way.
See? David can relate.
Yes.
He goes, he tries to lift the rug up. The cat and the dog are sitting there just like, get the fuck out of here. Shit! So he decides, okay, I'm in the living room. I'm going to move this bookcase. Let's see, I've never been back here. Puts his arm through a wall. Huh, that's fucking weird. Okay. And they ring the doorbell. They're here. They immediately find Bart and Lisa. It's just like, we're going to do seashells today. You're going to suck the shit out of all these and help us clean them. Fuck. All right, I'm going to take my chances with this wall. Enters into the wall. And he enters into the third dimension. And if you don't know what the third dimension is, any kids from the 90s ever watch an educational program with the weird fucking shapes and shit flying all over the place and the grids on the floor? Sometimes you get a white background, sometimes you get a black background, and it's early 3D CGI. That's essentially what we're looking at here.
I'm trying to remember it.
I remember it. I've never hated Zach more than I do now.
Jesus.
That is literally what we're looking at
All
right
right,
here.
now you're both fucking even. All right. So
And it's probably the most interesting thing this show has done so far. Because I'm not going to lie, I very much enjoyed this. I'm just like, oh, cool, we're going into my territory now. Animation and shit. 3D. Fucking love this.
I spent most of the fucking episode going, what the fuck am I watching?
There's some good jokes in this one, like when Homer's just standing there and he says, I feel like I'm wasting a fortune just standing here.
Yeah, because back
how
then it
much-
probably cost them a fortune to
much
make
did
that
that
whole
cost?
thing. I could make that in like 5 minutes right now.
I dare
Maybe
you.
even less. It's not that hard. All I got to do is make a green grid, put it on the background, put a few shapes down. Bam! I got that scene right there.
This-
Element is fucking great.
This explains a lot. This explains why Stephen King thought Maximum Overdrive was awesome. This is probably what he was viewing the world as.
Sure.
This is great.
But anyways, he's walking around in the third dimension. He starts screaming, and apparently everybody can hear him like it's the fucking poltergeist or something like that. Marge is just like, are you in the linen closet again? Give me 1 second. No, I don't see any linens. Fuck. So she starts inviting everybody over, the police, the doctor, that weird crazy fucking scientist dude with the...
Professor Frink.
Yeah, that guy. And,
Ned
the
Flanders.
fucking priest.
Yep. Do
Yeah.
you see a light, Homer?
Yes.
Go
Walk into the light.
Zap.
And he gets electrocuted. His doctor throws out some random stuff.
Oh,
And
no,
that,
the doctor asks him what's it like in there, and Homer says, well, has anybody ever seen the movie Tron?
then everybody just goes, no. The cop, yes. I mean, no. Which I don't get. What was bad about Tron? I don't know a single
I don't
person
know.
who does...
Not Tron Legacy. Original Tron.
No, Tron
Original
Legacy
Tron,
is good
yeah.
too. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
like
Both
it.
of those movies are fantastic.
I liked it. I mean,
I like
there
it.
was a time in my online dating profile where one of the questions was, what's the most private thing you're willing to admit? And I put, I watched the original Tron and liked it.
What the fuck was bad about Tron?
The only thing worse is to say I watched Dune and liked it.
Oh, no, not even I would go that far.
All right, Mark.
All right, you went far, man. That's,
You're going a little too far there, buddy. I'm going to need you to pull back.
when theaters need to pass out a glossary along with your ticket,
That's the funniest fucking story I ever heard from my dad. I went to go see this movie and they handed me a fucking pamphlet so I can understand what the hell was going on.
and then I actually found a copy online,
Of the pamphlet.
a scan of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
I'm still just amazed that they had to hand out a fucking pamphlet. Like, that's just amazing to me. I kind of wish I could go back in time just to see that. It's like, huh. So this is what they were talking about.
If
The
they
fuck does this mean?
if they really want to save movie theaters for the new version of Dune, directed by the guy that did the new Blade Runner, they should do a glossary with every ticket.
Yes.
Ooh,
So if you look at the back of your ticket, you'll find a glossary. It's like in such tiny words, you need a magnifying glass to read it. It's like,
It's like that time that you had a cheat sheet on your test. And you had like a one-note card and everything else, and you have to write as small as you can to write every fucking answer on there.
everything on there. It's like, fuck.
I did that.
But yeah, Tron. Good movie. I don't know why people fucking hate it. People are fucking weird. What the fuck?
You got to be a fan of science fiction in order to be a fan of it. It's,
I guess.
Yeah, like it's one of those movies that's not an easily digestible science fiction, movie.
I beg to differ.
I can see a modern audience having a difficult time with the original because the sound design is very.
Is it though?
It's very what's the word I'm looking for? Empty in a way, like when they enter when they get into the computer world.
But that was just basic stuff back then.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how things were.
No, like I appreciate it, but I can understand why somebody who has never seen it before in a modern audience might not like it.
You see, this is the problem with our children these days. They're all with our fancy tech and flashy lights and all these fancy sounds.
Not my
Well, the
children.
easy solution to that is just don't have children.
There you go. We need incentive-based eugenics.
Well, damn, Brandon should have told me 10 freaking years ago.
I didn't know you 10 years ago.
God.
Do you want me to travel back in
You have
time and stop
yeah,
you?
Yes.
He just
No.
kicks to the doors.
You edit that out.
Brendan,
I'm the
why
editor
is there
for
a
this one,
DeLorean parked outside?
My kid's like 10 years later, Dad, did you just tell Brandon to go back in time and not conceive us?
Kids are listening to this. It's like, what kind of
No.
shit is that?
No.
And you know the kind of luck I have. I'm going to show up at the most awkward moment.
Yeah, you probably would.
Right before the final thrust.
It's like my daughter's wedding. Here, I got this here.
I went the wrong way. Brendan, I only have one question for you.
I played the wrong track.
Is it how did I figure out how to work the flux capacitor? No. How much cocaine is in that DeLorean? Because I'm assuming the answer is a lot.
Well, I mean, I did stop by
80s.
1985 to get this. So.
By the way,
Look, all you got to do is just ask Stephen King. He has too much.
do you guys hold on? You guys do know that that's actually a joke, grounded in history. John DeLorean actually went to jail for 30 years for possession of large quantities of cocaine.
I was not aware of this.
They
Well,
literally bought off cocaine from it's in this the awesome documentary Cocaine Cowboys.
You told me about
Literally bought coke off of a major dealer, and he was selling it in order to get the DeLorean company out of bankruptcy, and he got busted. He got busted for selling coke. He went to prison for like 25 or 30 years.
God damn, that's a lot.
Dude, it wasn't like a little bit of cocaine. It was like 2 or 3 tons of cocaine. Like it was a lot of fucking.
It was a Green Goblin truck's load.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I think tons is a little
Nice.
dramatic, but it was enough to you would be like considered a distributor of coke, that kind of amount. So, and he tried to use it to bankrupt the company, and then got busted.
I mean, get out of bankruptcy?
Get out of bankruptcy, yes.
Jesus Christ.
Literally, and then because his whole thing was the DeLoreans were failing, and basically were going to be sold as a novelty item, because I heard that they were kind of not really good cars.
They seem like they would be shitty cars,
Yeah,
performance-wise. They didn't really go that fast.
So yeah.
And they can at least go 88 miles per hour, right? Why would the movie lie to us?
Yeah,
was
because
pretty much
movies
it.
never stretch the truth ever, right, Brandon?
Ever.
Oh.
Anyways,
That's not like I can drive anyway.
the
Can
Moving
you
on.
believe?
Well, okay, I can drive. It just wouldn't be, legal if I drove.
True.
you're time traveling and you have large quantities of cocaine in a DeLorean. I think you're not having a license is like the least of your That's like the fourth thing wrong with the scenario.
You just get like a ticket nowadays.
It's like, does he have a license? No. Throw that motherfucker in prison!
You're not mad at like us time traveling and then affecting other people's lives and actually driving around in a car that's not street legal in today's regards and having large quantities of cocaine from the 80s that have actually bought off of John DeLorean? No, not at all. No, it's just your license thing. We
just gotta follow law, man.
Yeah, technically there aren't any laws against time travel.
Yet.
True.
Well, if you go back in time to where the laws were before, is it still breaking the law?
That's actually a good question.
I think this is your award no points.
No, it's not even that. Like it hurt my head. That I was like, no. I was like,
You just tried to
shit.
explain it.
I actually have to think about this.
Shit.
Yeah.
I need to go and I don't know, smoke some weed or something,
Do
and
some
like
research.
expand my mind, and then maybe write a novel on physics, and then
Somebody call PJ and ask him for some help.
the
Gotta get back to him.
and you know what? I'm just gonna go with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy answered 46 or 42.
42.
Thank you. I'm just going with 42. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that answer.
Alrighty.
But they're like all laws. There's definitely a reason why laws exists, and if there was any group to create a law for a reason why not to time travel, it would definitely be this group.
So moving on, what happens with Homer next?
So he throws a fucking whatever. I don't know. Cone, was it?
Yep, it was a cone.
Okay, yeah. He throws a cone and it punctures the grid, and then it essentially creates a black hole that's just slowly expanding in the center of the map.
Hey, Zach.
And it's just sucking everything in.
Why did he throw the cone in the first place?
I actually don't remember.
It was bouncing around, and it.
Oh,
landed in his
yeah.
buttock.
Yeah.
Off his ass.
What happened, Zach?
Yeah, it essentially jumped right into his ass.
That's all I wanted to hear.
It's just, I don't know. That was the one thing where I'm like, what? That was stupid. Oh, also, I forgot to mention the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen before in this episode. He fucking drools into a pool of fish. And I don't know why, but I felt super bad for those fish, because now they have to swim in that shit for the rest of their existence. And that's
Wasn't
just
very
straight up
long
disgusting.
because of the black hole.
Either way, I'm like, screw you, you dirty bastard. Those poor fish now have to suffer because of you.
Wow,
Homer.
Damn.
Dude, Zach is Simpsons created sympathy within Zach.
Fucking hate Homer.
I don't know. The most disgusting part was almost sucking the freaking crab out of the shell.
Yeah, that was pretty gross.
And then getting herpes on her mouth.
Yeah, like, fucking gross.
And I was like,
Nah, I felt more bad for the fish. Fuck those two old bitches.
But yeah, then we have Professor Frink explaining what the third dimension is to everybody.
And everyone's just ultra confused. It's just like, I don't get it.
love Chief Wiggum.
That might be the most self-aware that the Simpsons have ever gotten in this era.
Also might be the smartest thing they've ever done.
Point taken. He draws a square, and Chief Wiggum's like, "Hey, hold on. Getting a little too crazy here, egghead."
But yeah. The black hole is just slowly expanding. Everybody's trying to figure out what the fuck can we do to save him. Homer's father comes in with one of those old diving suits and the cord attached. Everybody's like, no, you're not going in there. And then Bart just comes out of nowhere with a basic rope. Fuck it, I'll go in there. No! And he just legs it in there. And he's just like, oh, well, this is kind of cool. Black hole slowly expanding. Homer's on the opposite end of the black hole. Bart's on one side. Bart climbs on this freaking, what was it, a random street?
It was a lamppost.
Yeah,
street sign.
Yeah, lamppost, street sign, whatever you want to call it. And he's just like, jump to me! I'm like, that's not gonna work. Homer jumps, immediately gets sucked into the black hole. Well, shit. Bart goes back. Did you get him? No, he fell into the black hole, but he seemed pretty optimistic about it as Homer's screaming in agony. And then he falls into our universe. Like, he just lands in a trash can in L.A. What year was this?
This was it would have been like 96?
96 L.A. So
95.
Literally.
October 95.
I don't know. Was LA that bad in the 90s? I know it was terrible in the 80s.
No, it was really bad in the 90s.
Was it?
Let's just go with bad all the time. But anyway.
Fair enough. Anyways. Yeah, he's just walking around. Everybody's staring at him like, what the fuck did... Just... No. And then he walks... What was it? An exotic cake shop?
Erotic cakes.
Erotic cake shop, yeah. And walks in, probably buys a cake, and then the episode ends.
Yeah, hungry and horny.
These are, which is where most of us live our lives.
Yeah.
So this is one of those things that I would have loved to have seen an entire episode on one of the bits of the episode, and that would a Homer wandering around in an erotic cake shop would have been a great episode. I would have watched a solid 10 minutes of that. That would have been great.
I liked this one. I really liked the animation on Bart's spikes. I'm sure whatever animator was assigned that was thrilled.
I mean, I don't picture that part being too hard. I mean, they didn't like wave or anything, did they?
I don't remember.
They were pretty.
I
If
don't
they were
think
pretty
did.
still, then that's like you literally just taking points on the skull and kind of just dragging it up. So
Yeah.
that probably wouldn't be the hardest thing,
Yeah.
especially if he has a circular flat head. Yeah, that would probably be one of the easier things to do.
Nice.
Yeah. But then again, this is 90s
90s.
3D animation, so it could be something entirely different.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was a lot more difficult.
Like when he said this whole segment, he feels like he's costing a fortune right now. He is not lying. I can only imagine how much that cost back then. You could probably do that in a few days here. Hell, maybe even a day or two. Back then, I don't know how long this episode took them, but it probably took them a good amount of time.
This is what James Cameron had in mind when he started using CG for his movies.
James Cameron is the greatest pioneer.
And this is where Chris Nolan figured out he'll never use CGI.
No, Chris Nolan figured that out like way before then. He's just like, what is this fake shit?
Yeah, this segment is actually a spoof of the Twilight Zone.
Huh?
Yeah, it's called Little Girl Lost.
And they really love spoofing
Right.
Twilight Zone
I
in
think
these
it was
episodes.
season 3, I think.
Interesting.
But yeah, basically it's the same basic plot, except instead of Homer, it's a little girl who ends up in the fifth dimension, and that drawing that Frank did on the wall of the borders, that's actually from the episode, and the doorway in the episode was starting to close down, much like how there was a black hole happening in this segment. So it was a good spoof of the episode, while at the same time not being tied to the exact story of the episode.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I needed to have watched the episode
Yeah.
to have understood this. Like a lot of the previous ones, like you needed to have like watched all of those, episodes or films or whatever they were parodying in order to actually fully appreciate that. I didn't feel that way with this one.
Yeah, when I was a kid, like the fact that it was a 3D Homer, that was the coolest thing to a lot of the kids.
And now a
I
kid
really like
would
this
go.
one.
And now a kid would go. Eh.
True.
Well, they're
Yeah,
uncultured
essentially.
swine these days.
Yep.
Kids are spoiled,
Yep.
Well,
and we
well,
need
right.
less of them.
This was an acid trip, to say the least.
But that's what you love about it.
I spent most of the time watching it and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching again? It's like watching a car wreck. Just, like a good car wreck, but like I was mesmerized the way that...
What is a good car wreck?
I don't know, where nobody dies? I don't know.
I was gonna say one where everybody gets eviscerated, but okay.
It's either that or that. Like, there's, the middle ground is...
It's like if you're gonna watch a car wreck, at least make it entertaining.
It's like being mesmerized by a car wreck. Like, you're like, I can't take my eyes off whatever's going on the screen right now. But yeah.
Fair enough, I guess.
All right. The final thoughts and our little categories. Funniest moment for everybody.
Grandpa Simpson for the win. The whole thing. We might die in our dreams. Welcome to my life. Grandpa Simpson always
I liked
has
that.
one.
I also liked Martin being wheeled into the kindergarten.
Damn it, you took mine.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
That's one of my favorite moments.
I didn't take yours,
Funny
but we
moment.
can choose the same one.
Fuck you, Brandon.
The
Not
fa-
choose the same
fact
one.
that more of us are choosing it just means that it is a funny moment.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite funny moments. And then I think the other one was in the first segment with Marge telling Homer to get him the big boy the donut back, and it's like everything will go away. And nope.
You ever get tired of being wrong?
Sometimes.
Yeah, that was pretty great too.
Zach, funniest moment.
Cue the cricket noise, please.
Oh, come on. Not even that I feel like I'm wasting a fortune standing here. Not even that got a chuckle out
I mean,
of
I
it.
guess that's the closest thing, but I was more just entertained by it than it was funny. It's just like, yeah, you are. That's not even a funny moment. It's just like, oh yeah.
Okay, so that was more of a tragic moment than a funny moment for Zach, but tragedy and comedy are, cousins, so we'll take it.
Yep.
Also, when the donut guy shows up at the door,
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, Flanders got it."
And then
God,
next time he
help
opens
me.
the door. Help me,
Yeah.
Lord.
And comes back again. It's like, "I told you, Ned had it."
Creepiest or scariest moment? Or grossest, if there's one.
That goddamn fish.
I know. I know Zach's one. The creepiest would definitely be what's his face's death when he's like all
Martin.
alone.
Yeah, Martin's scream
Martin.
specifically, like just that scream.
I mean,
That's my pick.
And by the way, I'm saying this like almost like by default. I'm it's just like the creepiest of the episode. But if in the grand scheme of things, I wouldn't categorize it as creepy. It's just
like it's not
creepiest
like
of this.
when we do this category of creepiest, scariest, or grossest. And that's why I lump the three together, because especially in the later ones, there are some that just don't even try for the horror, but there's still like that one little gross thing in there. And of course, we're talking about this on the scale of like a Simpsons Halloween special. And this isn't going to be like The Exorcist or The Shining. It just can't, and it's not designed to be like that either.
We could try.
I think the second segment had a lot of those, like creepiest, scariest, nastiest moments.
Nice.
For me, it was like Willie actually being, on fire, and then like all of a sudden there's no flesh. He's just this, fiery skeleton basically. That was actually pretty creepy and awesome at the same time.
Yeah.
And then him as a freaking bagpipe spider thing.
That was just
that
pretty
was
cool.
pretty freaking creepy.
Which I
and
did
cool.
like a lot of the designs of Willie as he was sinking.
Yeah.
Like there was like the rocket ship and a few others.
I did like him as a giant lawnmower. That's cool.
That was pretty cool.
That was cool. That's cool
And
animation.
all right, you said the drool of the fish, right?
It was so disgusting. Those poor fish.
Yeah,
It was kind of gross.
yeah, it was pretty gross. Again, just back to the bizarreness of that fucking episode or that little bit. Like I was like, this is so fucking weird.
Worst segment. I'm going with Attack of the 50-Foot Eyesores. Yeah. The first one.
First
Yeah,
segment
I'm gonna
was
go
the
with the
weakest.
first one. Yeah,
I'm just gonna lump the first two together because they were just.
You hated the second one more than you hated the first one.
I don't know. They were both pretty bad.
Fair enough. I'm gonna definitely go with the.
I
the
still
first
liked it, but it still had a lot of humor to it. Best.
Episode 3.
Like the second one, even though with the ending felt flat.
I'm gonna go
enjoyed
with
the second
episode 3 just because of how unique it was. And just in how
It tried something different.
it tried. Well, not only about that, like it actually invoked more of an emotional reaction out of me than the other two did. So I have to take that into account.
It's a really close one for me. Like I really like the storytelling and the structure of the second one, and it does have my funniest moment of the episode and my creepiest moment of the episode. But when I think back to it, the Homer Cubed has always had a lot more impact on me. So I'm going to go with Homer Cubed, but it's like literally they're just like a notch within each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it had a better ending for the
Yeah,
second segment, you
yeah.
probably would have chosen that one. But
I probably would have.
I enjoyed the second, regardless of the ending.
Yeah.
It's the one of the most segments that I remember. For the Treehouse of Horror, just him being Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
I thought this was a very solid 3. All right. Thank you for listening to us on this Smarch 6th.
You
Join
died
us
next.
tomorrow, October 7th, for the next Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode. We've definitely got a heavy hitter in this next one coming up. Until then, check out our regular podcast, the Nightmares Podcast, over on Midwest Horror Network, which you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all at Midwest Horror Network.
And if you'd be so kind to like, share, and subscribe, and check out our 2 other programs, The Screaming Room, where we react, comment, and chat about our favorite horror movies, and then also our narrative show, Living Nightmares, based on real-life experiences. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you all for checking us out, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode of Treehouse of Horror.
Happy October, everyone.